I mean, July 25th is unemployment runs out, and
Oh, fantastic. Oh, July 25th, unemployment runs out. This country is shafted. The politicians are doing nothing. And Dave Ramsey's advice is, well, go get a job. Go get a job. I mean, I know you could get sick and potentially die, but, you know, if you don't have a job, you could also die. Let's listen to this boy. Jesus Christ, that's loud.
Alan starts off this hour in Kentucky. Hey, Alan, welcome to the Dave Ramsey
Actually, it's
Show.
just in my ear. I'm looking at the...
Hi, Dave. Hi, Chris. It's an honor to get to speak to both of you all today.
You too, sir.
My question today, I'm 52 years old. My wife's 50, and we've got a 10-year-old son. I was laid off in the middle of March due to lack of work at my employer because of COVID-19, and subsequently I've lost my job there since that time. And right now, money that I have coming in is my state unemployment benefits, federal unemployment benefits. I get money from a beneficiary IRA and a beneficiary annuity. My wife's income is stable and has been throughout the pandemic. When I was laid off, we started saving cash, piling up cash.
Good.
And at the moment, and we've been paying our minimum payments on everything. If we were debt-free at this point, we'd have about 3 to 4 months of expenses saved up for baby step 3. Got a chance to maybe have like 6 months saved up by the end of July.
So Dave Ramsey's advice, if I judge it by the title correctly, is going to be like, get a job, you lazy bum, right? Which is not the best advice, especially during a pandemic. My advice would be, the country's failing you. In Europe, people are not having these kind of problems for the most part. Now, I know this is happening in certain parts of Europe, but if we look at countries like Germany, where the government provides 80% of the income you previously earned prior to the pandemic, I think that's a much healthier way of handling the situation than asking people to apply for unemployment. If you're a contract worker, you're pretty much fucked. I mean, you can get the PUA benefits, but the PUA is only a limited amount. It doesn't. Let's say you were making $3,000, you know, or let's say you're making $5,000 for contractors, and all of a sudden you're making $400 a week. Like, it just, this country does not give a fuck about its poor people. It only gives a fuck about its companies. And, you know, Dave Ramsey, all right guy for the most part, but since he comes from a conservative Republican mindset of pull yourself up by your bootstraps, not the most helpful in this. And I think it's very narrow-minded thinking that this is a big problem with American conservatives in America, that the government's just bad. And if you're like, oh, well, what about Europe? Then they say, oh, it can never be done here. It's just totally different. Even though America's the richest country in the world, somehow basic necessities cannot be met here. Come on. Yeah, so ideally, his advice should be advocating government officials to get something changed, not lambasting people for not finding a job. Now, I may be wrong on this. Because we're only a minute into a 5-minute video. So let's continue. Maybe I'm wrong, but I have a feeling I'm like 90% sure that I just called it.
But my question is, should we at this point go ahead and continue to save cash, or should we start paying on our debt?
What does she make?
Last year it was around 47.
What did you used to make
last year? Mine was 29, and then
$29,000, yeah. Also, another big thing: people who work full time in America cannot survive on full-time wages. If you work 40 hours a week, you should be able to survive. That is not possible in America right now. And they say, well, get a second job. Go fuck yourself, get a second job. What do you mean, get a second job? I'm working 40... It's like, well, you're just lazy then. Oh, yeah, I'm lazy working 40-hour weeks. Do you want me to work 80-hour fucking weeks? Yeah, I mean, yeah, I guess you could. I can see working 80-hour weeks when you're starting a business, you know? I could see working 40-hour weeks and then starting a business on the side, you know? But those 40 hours should meet your basic needs. If they don't meet your basic needs, the system's fucked. And that should be changed, whether it be through minimum wages or tax incentives, maybe, for companies. Hey, you know, if you pay your workers this much, you're going to pay less in taxes. That could be an incentive, you know. Plus, if the wages of employees are higher, those employees can invest more in the economy. So, but if the politicians don't want to do it, they're fucking retarded. Or they're in the pockets of corporations, which is probably the more likely scenario.
Like I said, dividend distribution from a beneficiary IRA and annuity.
Yeah, I know that. I mean, your career, you were making $30,000.
Yes.
And you lost that job. So how's the job hunt going?
Well, because we've got a 10-year-old, we in Kentucky, we're not as far as being able to get, you know, day camps and daycares and stuff, and not actually opening them back up till next week. And during in the summer months, that's what we would do with our son. He would typically go to, you know, to different days.
Oh, brain freeze. Brain freeze. Ah, fuck. Oh, that popsicle. But look, that man can go to work because the daycares aren't open. Daycares aren't open, so even if I wanted to get a job, I technically couldn't because nobody would take care of the kid. The government's not giving me money because fucking politicians are corrupt. So let's hear Dave Ramsey's advice. Let's listen in.
Stuff throughout the summer. A lot of them are still on hold because of COVID. Where
so you haven't even looked?
Parks and Rec department. Pardon?
So you haven't even looked?
No.
Okay. When are you going to start looking?
Potentially when school starts back up in August.
Why? You don't think the day camps are going to open next week?
Daycares, by the way, very expensive in America. Very expensive in America. And when you don't have a job, kind of hard to pay for daycare.
Well, the ones that he goes to, I've not been able to find out any information on them.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, I'd be concerned about getting back in the saddle if I were in your shoes. I mean, July 25th is unemployment runs out, and
oh, fantastic! Oh, July 25th, unemployment runs out. This country is shafted. The politicians are doing nothing, and Dave Ramsey's advice is, well, go get a job. Go get a job. I mean, I know you could get sick and potentially die, but, you know, if you don't have a job, you could also die. And not connecting the two dots said, hey, maybe there's a third option.
And you're going to want to be getting back to normal before you stop piling up cash, I think.
Yeah, I do too, Alan. I mean, you are aware that in July, that extra $600 a week goes away, right?
I love how these guys are just casually like, oh yeah, it goes away, like no problem. Like this is actually not a terrible thing. I mean, to be fair, they're not like happy about it going away. You know, I don't want to, you know, fill in the blanks here, but that's kind of what I'm doing. I'm filling in the blanks because I know the mindset they come from. They come from conservative mindset, which is if you're not working, you're lazy, even though there's a global pandemic happening, and like government is just bad, whatever they do.
Yes.
Okay. And so you being proactive right now, I mean, do you guys have family members where you live?
We do.
Okay. Because, see, that's where stepping out of the box and you start to look and you think,
This Chris Hogan dude, he's got a fucking sexy voice, though. Very beautiful voice.
Kid go over there while you're working, but jump-starting it, that's my fear, Alan, is that a lot of people are sitting back and waiting until the end of July to start to be concerned. And the time to be concerned...
The time to be concerned... Dude, the fucking politician. God, democracy is awful. Jesus, this is a total disaster, man. Total disaster. You're putting the blame the blame on the people that the unemployment insurance during a pandemic is gonna run out. What? Excuse me?
Concerned is now. The time to be proactive is now. So you can put yourself in a better situation before the money runs out. Otherwise, there's going to be this.
Right, you could, but I also got to take care of a kid, and the daycare camps aren't open. And then if they are open for the daycare camps, I got to pay for the daycare camps, which are not cheap. Daycare camps are pretty expensive. So I'm assuming the job this man happens to find is most likely going to be an essential job, kind of, for the most part. I mean, now maybe a little bit less restricted. But still, you're most likely aren't going to be paid in just like you were before. So you're taking a pay cut. You got to make expenses, and now the unemployment benefits aren't coming in. This is a total shit show, though.
Total shit show. Of a lot of people that are trying to jumpstart something that could have been an easier start earlier.
We have 40 million unemployed. The ones that are on unemployment are all going to be looking for work July the 25th.
Yeah.
I would get a jump ahead.
Okay, Gordon Ramsay. That's not Gordon Ramsay. Dave Ramsey. Dave Ramsey. Why? Like, okay, when the economy is great, Dave Ramsey's advice is pretty good for personal finance. Pretty good, getting out of debt and whatnot. But like the closed mindset of like, hey, during a pandemic, you know, the unemployment insurance is ending, so let's blame all the people that are gonna try to get jobs even in a pandemic instead of blaming the government for not extending the unemployment. I know, again, he's a conservative, so it's gonna be like, oh, the government doesn't do anything. In other countries, it does everything. Oh, not in everything, but you know, it does. Again, in Germany, 80% of wages are covered. 80% of your past wages are covered. In America, it's like, yeah, you got 6 months, and then, you know, fight to the death at that point. Like, what is that mentality? That is so unhealthy for a society, especially the number one economy in the world who could easily afford this. Oh, my God.
Head of that line. I don't want to be in line behind 40 million people.
That's exactly right.
And then, let's say you had an autoimmune disease or something. Yeah, go back to work. Risk it all. Risk it all. It's like, dude, come on.
And as you look for a job, it might not be in your area of choice. It doesn't matter. Dave, I heard you say this years ago. It's easier to find a job when you have one.
Yeah. And
so get some money coming in because it'll just change.
Right. That is true. When the world isn't in a pandemic. I'm gonna let off the steam a little bit.
Your psyche.
Yeah, I want you to the answer to your question is I want you to get stabilized on the career side before you stop piling up cash, because I don't want you to come up short, and I'm worried that your strategy is going to cause you to be unemployed past when you think you're going to. It sounds like you think there's going to be no problem as soon as the child care thing straightens out or he goes back to school, then there'd be no problem just picking up a job. Which the good news is you make $30,000 a year, not $300,000. Those are harder to find. So $30,000.
Right, and if you're making $30,000 a year and you also got to pay for daycare, you don't have fucking daycare is expensive, dude. Oh, jeez.
It's easier to find. So that's the thing I would get after, and
just get after it. Find a job. Everything's gonna be fine. I mean, you may die, but think about it. You may have money in the short term.
I want to get in line in front of all these people that are going to wait.
Oh, absolutely. And this is
unemployment is a socialist invention. Again, Dave Ramsey, good when the economy is good. Terrible advice when the economy is in the shitter. And look at these 363 delusional people. Yeah, that was some good advice. Yeah, go find a job. Yeah, go find a job.